Well, this video is just kind of for anyone who cares uh, about my opinions on the 2010s as a decade in terms of games. It's been a very big time of change for video games, the 2010s, where it's a transition away from movie-based games and that kind of stuff to a lot larger of a market for games with a lot of different variety. But this is not a comprehensive list. This is just kind of, these are the games that I remember from each year. And I guess I'll get started. Back in 2010, start off the decade with Crackdown 2. Never played the first one, but I played the second one quite a lot online. Had my character maxed out. It was all just fun arcade stuff. And then Call of Duty Black Ops. I was a huge Call of Duty fan. Black Ops was a nice change of pace. Introduced a lot of different mechanics. It was a lot more fun. Still enjoyed Modern Warfare 2 a lot during that year, but that was 2009. I can't include it on the list. So then 2011 was another very large year for games. With Skyrim, which I didn't even buy for myself. That was actually a gift from my brother, because I'd played Fallout 3 and I was like, I really don't like this. But my brother bought me Skyrim for my birthday and I was like, okay, I'll give it a try, and ended up replaying it on a couple different releases, different consoles, like 3 or 4 times, which isn't a lot for some people, but it's a lot for me to revisit a game 3 or 4 times. Portal 2, which was a lot larger than Portal 1, which I had played on the Xbox. A lot of fun, a lot more puzzles, and the co-op was great. Dark Souls, I don't believe I guess I should have another little asterisk here. This is kind of a mix of when I played the game and when the games came out. So it's kind of a mix and match. So Dark Souls, I don't think I played it in 2011, but when I did play it, it became basically one of my all-time favorite games. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, again, I was a Call of Duty nerd, and Modern Warfare 3 had a big effect on me because it was the conclusion of this trilogy of these characters and kind of a turning point in Call of Duty, I guess, for me, where I started being less involved with the series. Then, also 2011, Saints Row the Third. A lot of fun co-op, online, with friends, a lot of hilarious moments in the character editor, all that fun stuff. And I think, actually, my biggest game of that year was Team Fortress 2. So 2011 was the year I got a laptop for the first time, and it's also the year that Team Fortress 2 went free to play. And man, it is still my highest played game on Steam, just due to basically playing it straight through the entire summer of 2011, like hours every day on my laptop, overheating, burning my crotch. It was a great experience. 2012, I only really have one game that stood out for me this year, which was Borderlands 2, which again, I don't remember if I played it that year, or that's just the year it came out. I think I didn't play it for another year or so on PC, but I came back to the game a lot. With a lot of different DLC, a lot of different characters. So it was a fun game for 2012. 2013, Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, still the only Metal Gear game I have played. Animal Crossing New Leaf, I spent countless hours in that game on 3DS, like every single day, pulling weeds. I feel bad going back to it now, because I feel like all my villagers are going to abandon me, so I'm looking forward to the next one. Stanley Parable, you can argue is just a walking simulator, but it was definitely a different type of game. It was just kind of like an experience, in a way. Assassin's Creed 4. I also didn't buy right away, because I absolutely hated the ship combat in Assassin's Creed 3. And I was like, I don't want to play a whole game based around that. But I did play it. It had revamped that whole system, and I really enjoyed it. And that is, I believe, the last Assassin's Creed game I played. Don't think I've touched the series since. Anyways, moving on. Saints Row 4, which was kind of the end of THQ. Kind of a sad moment, but you could tell it was kind of starting to go downhill from there because they were reusing assets, but it was still a fun experience. It was just wacky fun. Moving on to 2014, which was also the start of my channel. The Elder Scrolls Online, I played that a lot throughout the summer. It was a fantastic game, but I was only doing it solo, and I got through about 2/3 of the factions, and kind of got burnt out. I've not touched it since like 2015. I still have the install disc, I still have the Molag Bal. I bought the huge special edition, and I played it all the way up until they stopped doing the subscription-based thing. Played it for a few months, and then stopped. Battle Block Theater, once again, kind of a simple game. A lot of fun little arcade moments with me and my friends. Replayed it a few times. It was a good one. Binding of Isaac Rebirth. That's a game I still go back to, because it's the only roguelike I really enjoy. I can really get into. I did not enjoy the first Binding of Isaac as much as I have enjoyed Rebirth. Maybe because Rebirth's easier. I don't know. But that's definitely still on my list. Super Smash Bros. 4, specifically for the 3DS. It was the first mobile Smash Bros. Game, and I played that a lot as well. It introduced Little Mac, who was my main for a while, even with his horrible jumps. I enjoyed playing that quite a bit. Just had my 3DS at school, started up whenever I could. Final one for this year is Dark Souls 2, which I played a couple times. I think it was the first time I'd played a Dark Souls game on release, and I played it through it with all the 3 DLCs, all the 3 crowns. Good experience. I revisited it later with Scholar of the First Sin. Yeah, that one. I replayed it with that edition as well. And enjoyable experience. Not the same as Dark Souls 1 and 3, but still good in its own ways. 2015, Bloodborne. Once again, not a game I don't think I played that year, but when I did play it, it was enjoyable. I never did all the DLCs, which I regret, but that's actually the only game I have for 2015. 2016, start of Overwatch, which has had a huge influence on the channel and me and competitive gaming for me, I guess. A lot of fun. Continues to still be fun. I have grown a bit jaded of it as the years go by, but very good. Very good. And I'm interested to see what Overwatch 2 is going to be like. Dark Souls 3 also came out 2016, so that kind of concluded the whole trilogy. Ratchet & Clank also came out that year. The movie, the game based on the movie based on the game, which hopefully it'll have been 4 years. Hopefully they're still planning a reboot. I know it didn't do as well as Sony and Insomniac were hoping, but man, that would be... The whole re-envisioning of that style was really, really good. Animation was great. And final one, 2016, was Doom. I think I only played through it once, but it was an enjoyable experience. and I think I played a little bit of the online, but it was not a game I went back to a ton, but it was still notable for the year. 2017 was Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, which I played originally on the Wii U. Played it a lot, played it like hundreds of hours, and I've actually picked it up again on Switch. Played it a lot more casually, haven't beaten it yet, but that was another great game. I think it was my second 3D Zelda game. After that, we've got Hollow Knight, which was my first real Metroidvania, and enjoyable. Very enjoyable, both visual style and like gameplay-wise. 10 out of 10. The final one for that year, a bit of a sad one, was Gigantic, which only lasted for a year, but visual style of that, gameplay loop, the community was just great for Gigantic. I'll touch more on Gigantic later. 2018, only got 2 games for that one, was God of War, which was my first God of War game. Different than the rest, good story, great visuals, pretty challenging and enjoyable. Then, at the very tail end of 2018 was Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which I don't play Smash competitively, but it's a fun game to start up every once in a while. I'm still working through World of Light, very casually, but very fun. 2019, Kingdom Hearts 3, strong start to the year, which I think is coming out with a DLC in just a couple months. I waited a long time for Kingdom Hearts 3. After the second one was on PS2, and then the final one was PS4. They skipped a whole generation, tons of re-releases, but good game. Apex Legends, which is kind of a weird one for my list because I'm very bad at it, but it definitely kept my attention. It pulled me away from Overwatch for a bit, and like I said, despite being bad at it, I still wanted to keep playing it. I haven't played it in a while, but Sekiro, a game I don't actually think should have won Game of the Year. It was enjoyable, but again, I just don't have any desire to go back to it. It didn't have as much variety in terms of what you could do in the game. There's a lot less. I mean, you only had one weapon. You could choose a couple of sub-weapons, but overall you're going to get pretty much the same experience every time you play. Death Stranding, which is a game I'm still working through, so I guess maybe it shouldn't be on this list, but I'll probably remember it for years to come. And Modern Warfare, the newest one, is notable for me because it's a game I've worked on. It's a game I'm playing with my friends again. It's like brought back the old crew a bit. It's a lot of fun. So that lands it on my list. And that about wraps it up. Again, this isn't all-encompassing. I'm sure there's games I've forgotten. There's a lot of games I never played, so I can't put them on my list. There's games I have played, which were fun, but unless I read it on a list, I wouldn't have remembered it, so it doesn't go on the list. I think my overall game of the decade, it's very difficult to say, but I'd say Gigantic. Maybe it's because it's like a martyr game, because it feels like it died before its time, but just the visual style, the gameplay of it, the community, like I said, it was just a great game. I thought I really enjoyed, felt it deserved a better shot, but I know it still has a few followers. It still has like the private server, and I haven't gone back to it. I haven't done the private server stuff because maybe it's better in memory, but I think that's one of my top games of the decade. And so there we go. About 16 minutes of me rambling, and hopefully you enjoyed. If I forgot your favorite game, I'm sorry. Feel free to yell at me in the comments, but that is my games of the decade for the 2010s. Hopefully 2020 starts off strong, and I guess I'll I'll make another video in another 10 years. So, look forward to that one.